Alright, well, we got something really special today. Something very, very near and dear to my heart. We're gonna make my Bubby's kugel. I got my Bubby's recipe on a handwritten letter that she wrote to my mother back in, I don't know, probably the late 70s, maybe 1980, 81, maybe 1982. I don't know exactly what the year and date was on it, but it's a nice old handwritten letter from my Bubby. Oy, my Bubby. Hashem bless her neshama. Her memory is a blessing. My Bubby. We're gonna make her kugel. My Bubby's kugel is pretty unique as far as sweet noodle kugels go. It's a pretty unique kugel because it's pan fried. And so that's part of what makes this one special. A lot of people had baked kugels, sweet noodle kugels. I've seen a few, fried noodle kugel recipes out there. Most of the fried kugels you see out there that I found, they're more savory. But this is a sweet kugel. So we got a pound of egg noodles we're gonna cook. We got some brown sugar. We got eggs, salt, cinnamon, vanilla extract, and Uncle Manny and Evan Williams are here to help us out as usual. So we're gonna cook the egg noodles first. I think you probably know how to cook egg noodles. I'm gonna get a big pot of salted water going, boil them egg noodles and get them cooked, and then we'll show you how this thing comes together. It's a real simple kugel. It's a real simple kugel, you're gonna see, and that makes it easy, fairly easy to make. There's only one tricky part, which is kind of a fun part too, so you're gonna see that too. Alright, so I'm gonna get those egg noodles going, then we're gonna come back and talk some more. Alright, so the noodles is getting ready to cook in the boiling water. And so now I'm gonna start mixing up the matrix for the kugel. And it's pretty simple. I just had 3 eggs in here, half a cup of brown sugar, half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of cinnamon. What else I got in there? A teaspoon of vanilla extract. And I'm just going to mix that up pretty good. And the other things that I think I left out a couple ingredients in the last little segment there. I got a whole stick of butter here. Got a whole stick of butter that I got divided into a 6 tablespoon chunk and a 2 tablespoon chunk. I'm going to melt the 6 tablespoons. That's eventually going to go in here in the matrix. The other 2 tablespoons is going to be to grease the pan. And of course, I didn't mention it last time, but I got half a cup of raisins here. My Bubby always put raisins in her kugel. Not everybody likes raisins. You can leave them out if you want. But I like to make it the way my Bubby made it. So this is just about ready now to receive the noodles and have the other ingredients added in there. So now we're just waiting for the noodles to cook. Alright, the noodles is done cooking. They're al dente right now. So I drained off the water. We're going to mix everything together now and put it in the pan. So the pan that we're going to be using is a nice big 12-inch saute pan with a good lid on it. And that's what you're going to want for this pan fried kugel recipe. So I'm mixing this up with a matrix there. And now I'm going to put in the 6 tablespoons of melted butter. Nobody said Bubby's kugel was heart smart, Well, that's alright. It's delicious. And because it's from Bubby, it's good for you. I don't care what anyone says. It's good for you. Just lost the noodle. That's okay too. Maybe the dog will get that. And my half cup of raisins here. That's not too many raisins. Enough raisins to remind us that we eating kugel. This is Bubby's special kugel recipe here. Mostly just noodles and eggs. And butter with a little bit of seasoning. Now we're going to take this over to our pan. And we're going to be pan frying this. Alright, so I'm going to move the camera. So I got my nice thick 12-inch saute pan here. I think it's 12-inch. I don't know. It's a big one. It's not the biggest they make, but it's, it's good size. And it's got these nice tall edges on it, which come up nice and straight, and that's the key point here. So right now I got the flame under the pan with the butter in there melting. That's 2 tablespoons of butter. Just going to swirl that around. And once the butter is completely melted and I think the pan is hot, then I'm going to put the the kugel mixture in there. So this is where you really got to pay attention to the temperature of your pan. So for this pan fried kugel, while it is pan fried, this is not a fast ordeal like a lot of other Jewishy foods we make here. it takes time. So you want your pan to be preheated. You want to be good and warmed up here, so that when the first, a little liquid from the matrix there hits it, it don't stick. But you don't want to burn nothing. So right now I got the flame on medium, I'm getting it hot. I'm gonna wait till the butter starts bubbling a little bit. Once that butter starts bubbling, but before it turns brown, I'm gonna dump the mix in there. So I'm just waiting now. Waiting until that butter looks like it's real good and hot. And so that's what we do. We wait. We waiting again. We do that a lot with Jewish cooking, don't we? This is when maybe you got a little red wine for yourself. Maybe you got some Evan Williams on hand. You have a little time right now to take a sip while you're waiting for this. All right, I'll turn the camera back on once I think it's hot enough, but it's probably only going to be about another 30 seconds or a minute or something like that. All right, the butter's all brown, or not brown, no, the butter's just beginning to maybe look like it's going to brown, so I'm just turning the flame way down low on my gas stove. I turn it down as low as it could possibly go. I heard a little sizzle as I dumped this in the pan there. You can see that a pound of noodles fills up this pan real nice. And so now what do we got to do? Now we got to wait 20 minutes, no peeky. You put a lid on it, something tight fitting. You ain't got a tight fitting lid, put a piece of tin foil over it, good and tight. No peeky. You got to wait 20 minutes and get that flame down as low as you can on your stove. Now if your stove goes super low, I don't know, maybe you don't want the lowest possible setting, but on this stove, gas stove, I think any gas stove, you want the lowest possible setting you can get out of that flame. I'm going to put a timer on for 20 minutes and then we're going to see the tricky and fun part. Just so you can see how low my flame is. Really just a little bit of gas on right there. Tiny little flames coming up from my burners there, because it's going to sit there a good 20 minutes. And I don't want my kugel to burn. It's going to brown. That's going to be part of the deliciousness of it. The bottom is going to be brown, but you don't want it burnt. So I'm just waiting again. I want you to see this. Okay, here comes the fun and tricky part with Bubby's kugel. It's been in there about 20 minutes. It's time to flip it. You say flip it? How on earth do you flip a kugel? Well, you got to go around the edges. You got to loosen it up. And you just, you're just kind of taking it on faith that it's, been cooking and solidifying a little bit. And hopefully, since we used all that butter in the matrix and also on the bottom of the pan, shake it a little bit. And the whole thing's loose. You can see it and feel it. The whole thing is loose. So now, you gotta flip it. This is the tricky fun part right here. You get yourself a big flat plate or a good flat lid. Get your oven mitts on, because it's probably obvious, but this is going to be hot. So we're going to turn the whole thing over so the kugel is on the lid. And it's tricky. You don't want to drop it. You drop it and you're not going to be happy with yourself. You're going to have a big mess to clean up. Alright, here it is. That's how you flip it, and then you slide it back in. That's what my Bubby did for decades, making kugel. You see that beautiful brown right there on the surface of the kugel? Not burned, just brown. Oh my goodness. Reminds me of Bubby. Oh. Hashem bless her neshama. Well, now we're going to close this up now. Keep the flame on super low. Let it go another 20 minutes, and your kugel's done. Alright, well, Bubby's kugel is done. There it is. Sure, it's brown on the other side, but I'm just going to leave it like that. And now, when it's time to serve it, we're just going to cut it up in squares. So that's my Bubby's kugel. I hope you love it. Alright, there's Bubby's kugel. All cut up it up in about 16 pieces. You can see this piece I lifted out there is just beautiful golden brown on that side there. It's brown on the other side. And the beauty of the pan frying of this is that it gets that real chewiness in the edges that were on the pan that were They were all brown now. They're going to be real nice and chewy. You know, you're going to feel it when you chew it. And maybe that's not what you expect from a noodle kugel. It's going to be a little different if you always bake yours, but you know, I just love it. You know, maybe because it reminds me of my Bubby, but also because I just love that texture. So, eat in good health, l'chaim. I hope you try to make this at home sometime, and I hope you love it. Hope you spend some good time with your family and friends and spread some more love in the world, because that's what Cook Jewish is all about.